morning. I'm Joe Stanhope. I'm a Vice President and Principal Analyst at Forrester Research, where I cover marketing technology on our business-to-consumer marketing research team. It is a pleasure to be here. It has been, I think, also a great event, and I have learned a lot. I didn't know it was possible to put a gymnast in a ball in a pool. So this has really expanded my horizons as well. But in all seriousness, I think this has been a nice event, and it's always about the people in the community, like Mark has been saying for 2 days, and the time has certainly flown by. But lovely to be here. Want to also thank the Treasure team. They have worked tirelessly and very hard to make the event look this easy and smooth, and I appreciate that as well. I'm going to talk to you about some marketing technology topics that I spent a lot of time thinking about and the way we advise clients at Forrester to kind of reinvent and rethink the way they're handling the development of their marketing technology stack. But first, what you see here is a picture of the Ginza shopping district in Tokyo, Japan. Some of you probably have been there because you're from Japan. Now, I don't know how it was for you during the pandemic times, but it was quite a shock, right? I spent my time flying all over the world talking to clients, and then all of a sudden, we had this whiplash where we were suddenly just at home all the time, every day, without change. And we had to adapt, right? The way we thought about the world and the way we worked and what we did with our free time. And to be very clear, I don't want to complain. I'm very fortunate and blessed. My family was safe and healthy. We had jobs. My children got something like an education. It was all okay in the end. But it was a big change, right, to make that mind shift. And so one of the things I did a lot during the pandemic was I thought about travel. And when this thing lifts, where are all the cool places I want to go? And what's my bucket list for travel? And it doesn't take a psychologist to figure out how that happened, right? Because I'm trapped in a room for 60 hours a week, and I just desperately want to go somewhere, anywhere, not here. One of those places, my top bucket list item for travel is Japan. I've traveled all over the world. I've been very lucky. Never been to Japan. Desperately want to go to there. So I spent a lot of time looking into it, planning trips, checking things out, which is really fun to do. One day, I came across a site that was advertising a store called Morioka Shoten. And it is pretty much what it looks like. It's a bookstore that has one room and sells exactly one book. To put it mildly, this would be counterintuitive in terms of a traditional merchandising strategy and approach to retail sales. But it kind of blew my mind. And this is very close. It's just kind of off the main Ginza shopping district. I thought this was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Every month, they basically curate, here's the one book we're going to sell. And it's kind of more than a bookstore. It's kind of a community center. They have speeches and cultural events. They have artwork. It's like a gallery. So they're delivering this highly curated, very specific experience of what they think people should see, need to see, what their customers want. And I would love to see this in person. I think it's a fantastic concept and so bold and interesting. But also, showing my own brain damage as a lifelong marketer, I immediately said, this is basically the singularity of personalization. This is basically what we all want, right? We want to go to a store where someone has spent their entire working life thinking about what we need, what we want, setting it up for us, giving us a broad, beautiful, big, engaging experience around that object, right? And so I thought, this is incredible. This is what we've all kind of been working towards. And the concept of personalization is something that comes up with my clients literally every day of the week. It's a broad topic. There's a spectrum. It means different things to different organizations. But this is the watchword that I'm constantly listening for to have conversations about. It's really taken over the customer engagement and loyalty type discussions as an endpoint for what we're building towards. Well, a lot of what we're doing here this week with CDPs, with data, with journeys, moving towards this kind of personalization. Now, I understand that Morioka Shoten is perhaps in the real world a little bit aspirational in marketing terms, and at the risk of being redundant, there's a few things going on in the world that are affecting marketing today. And it's not even just the pandemic or the current economic scenario. Marketers are no stranger to disruption. For years, we've been going through a slow burn of industry change that we're constantly running towards and trying to correct for. Of course, consumers are more demanding, more sophisticated than ever. We have more devices and touch points and channels where we want to engage. Everything's getting faster, right? Velocity is a big topic that comes up now. We've talked about it this week at the CDP event, where we need to be fast enough to handle the data, make decisions, engage. And of course, I do think one area that was moved forward because of the digital transformation effects of the pandemic was we've seen more meaningful, I would say, integration or coalescing of loyalty and e-commerce and marketing capabilities, which is kind of the next generation of bringing customer experience and marketing together in a meaningful way. And these are all exciting topics, but also very disruptive because everybody already has a day job. And then, of course, on top of the normal trends, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the majesty that is data deprecation. Now, at Forrester, that's an umbrella term that we use to describe a number of simultaneous data trends, right, that are affecting our access to and usage of data. And that spans several things. Consumer actions, think about maybe you're using ad blockers now, things like that. Of course, the privacy and regulatory landscape on a global basis continues to be extended. The way walled gardens are treating data in their own ecosystems. And of course, where there's a lot of heat on the technology side, like Google Chrome, kind of last nail in the coffin of third-party cookies, changes to the mobile operating systems around identification and data movement. And that, of course, all of these things essentially shake the foundation of marketing. All of our traditional assumptions about how we identify and recognize customers, how we're going to do measurement, how we're going to do targeting, are all affected by changes to addressability of customers and our ability to track that data. But I think the through line to all of this, all these trends, comes back to what we call engaging in customers' moments. The ability to be available wherever, whenever, however a customer wants you in their exact, precise moment of need. It's essentially the atomic element of customer engagement, really breaking it down to that individual interaction. What I think is really cool and where we get a lot of excitement about moments is that they are everywhere. They are in the ether flying by us right now as we speak. And what I think marketers get excited about engaging in moments is it really expands the aperture of where marketing participates in the customer life cycle. Moments are broader than acquisition marketing. It's broader than loyalty or CRM marketing. It spans every phase of that customer life cycle, and there's a place for marketing to support engagement in moments everywhere we engage with a customer. And it provides then that pathway towards a new generation of personalization, which again is what I think at the end point of what we've been talking about last week, new ways of dealing with data, real time, journeys. At the end of the day, it's really about creating personalization for customers, and moments-based personalization becomes this endpoint. Now that has big implications. It's easy to say up here on a stage, as you know, a lot harder to do in real life, because we're already doing a lot of marketing and customer engagement, and we're talking about shifting to kind of this new method of engagement. And that has huge, huge technical implications. We need the technology to be able to deliver in customers' moments. And so this dramatically escalates our current tech requirements, which again is why I think a lot of us are here, and we're talking about all these topics for the last few days. But the technology has to serve really two major dimensions now, right? This expansion of engagement channels, or where we engage, that palette, and then drilling down into the granularity of getting down to the customer, moving from large segments or broadcast down to the person. And to accomplish this, we need the technology that helps us get to individual people, and this is where the profiles come in. We have to be real time. There's been a lot of excitement about that. We have to be very fast to engage in a moment with a person. And we need to have the kind of automation and predictive capabilities to scale up the data usage, the decisioning, the creative elements, the delivery that moments demand. Now there's good news. You may have noticed there's a lot of technology available to marketers today. Some would say thousands of different solutions. And really, by every measure, marketing technology has been exceptionally successful in the last 20 years, essentially as long as I've been in the industry. We have so many tools that we use to fill in and develop and try to keep up with all these market changes. And that's good news. We like having choice. We like having availability of solutions. All of us have invested in those today, haven't we? So why is it still hard? When I started my career, I'm going to date myself a little bit here. I came really out of a database marketing background when the first campaign management tools were coming on the market. Any Exchange Apps fans in the house? Yeah, right. No, you're all too young. Okay, it was one of the first tools. Trust me on this. You can Google it later. I was looking at this as a young man just getting involved in this, and I thought I'd have the best career ever. We're going to have all these tools. This is going to be easy. This is going to be amazing. I'm going to get all the credit for it. Let's go to an early lunch, right? It was fantastic. And none of that happened. Well, I might have gone to an early lunch. But it is still hard. It's not automated. It's not a black box. The tools didn't magically do all the work for us. And maybe that was predictable. I want to know why, though. So we talk to a lot of buyers and users of marketing technology, and one of the questions I like asking them is, what challenges are you looking to deal with and manage and resolve over the next 2 years? And I think that's a really interesting proxy for what we're going to expect from marketing technology. And it does change from year to year. We saw some shifts, especially during the pandemic, right, as customer engagement strategies and marketing strategies shifted due to those conditions. But it ramps up. You see, we're still struggling with things like orchestrating interactions across CX, still working to fill the top of the funnel. That's kind of a classic that we're always working on. We want to increase engagement and loyalty. And vaulting to the top now is we want to have better personalization and what that means to your organization. Now, when I first see these numbers, I usually get very angry, honestly, because it's like, well, you're telling me we spent tens upon tens of billions of dollars. How many millions of man-hours implementing marketing technology, just like we were told to, just like Forrester told me to. And we're still struggling with some of these issues. That's infuriating. Because shouldn't we have conquered some of these things by now? Well, it's easy to understand why, because this is not because something specifically went wrong or there were problems or it's not that somebody was bad at their job. We're not placing blame here. This is organic because we have been running to stand still in a constantly changing environment, a disrupted environment for years and years and years. So it's not surprising that there are still struggles. This is an eye chart, and I apologize for that, but the struggles come up in areas of data. Again, why a lot of us are here today. It's not that we don't have data. I have literally never had anyone call me up and say, Joe, I would like more data. Right? Given their druthers, I think most people would like less data and for it to stop coming out of the woodwork, right? The key is to have the right data, to have actionable data. Again, that's why we're all in this room today. Companies have data, but it's in so many different places, so many different formats. It's moving so fast. It's hard to wrangle. That's the magic, perhaps, of the CDP. We're not using that data. The second big issue we run into is what I would call silo journeys. It's not enough just to have one marketing technology stack. Over time, as companies have worked to keep up and engage with their customers, they've developed multiple siloed stacks of technology for different phases of the life cycle or for different channels or for different parts of that ecosystem. So we got a mobile stack and an ad stack and a loyalty stack and a CRM stack. And historically, we have rewarded sophistication and specialization, like in channels, right? We want to have the best email, we want to have the best ads, we want to have the best loyalty program. But that's not working right now, because right now we're on the hook as marketers to provide a cohesive experience to deliver in those moments. That's essentially channel agnostic. We need to be able to operate across the entire life cycle horizontally. We need to vertically operate across any channel. So having all these silos has started to backfire on us. And the real key, the secret sauce to marketing technology success, I've been saying for years and strongly believe, is integration. We are going to have a world with different types of data sources. We are going to have a world that involves multiple technologies, and we're going to have a world that is changing. So we're going to be fine-tuning our technology capabilities on an ongoing basis. The only way to make that work is through integration. And to your credit, marketers are getting a lot better when you acquire new technologies at looking advanced at integration capabilities before buying or implementing a tool. We've finally gotten past just looking at brute force features and functionality when we buy tech. That's a huge turning point. But we're still turning the ship, and when we ask customers, where do you want improvement in your technology? 4 of the top 5 issues are all about integration, and we're getting a lot more sophisticated about it. We're thinking about data integration, process and workflow integration, application integration, to make these stacks start working together. Because we need this technology to deliver, again, that cohesive experience and that access to moments. And the tools have to work together to be something, the sum being greater than their parts. And for these reasons, in a world where consumers want more from us, and they will reward it, where we're constantly being disrupted, where we have some technology that needs to be really updated and fine-tuned, I think it's time to rethink the model we have in our heads about marketing technology. We need to really accept that it is not a linear set of tools that we just use in sequence, right? It is an ecosystem of tools that have to work together along with the data, and we have to redesign this specifically for moments. And I'm not telling you you're going to have to rip and replace everything, by no means. That is a not good idea. Please don't do that. But we can fine-tune what we have, we can tweak, we can fill in gaps, we can add new capabilities in line with a more ecosystem-oriented architecture. And that involves thinking about this in 3 ways and fine-tuning 3 key areas. 1, the data strategy. If nothing else, because of data deprecation, all of our data strategies are changing. Whether we like that or not, whether accept it or not, data is changing on us, and we have to adapt our approach to that. What that probably means for most organizations is really doubling down on the first-party data side, although not exclusively by any means, but making the most of the data assets we have about our customers. And not just loading up a bunch of data to some data warehouse or a data lake, right? Because marketing never wins with a data lake. This is still a curated environment. But we want to, like the CDPs talk about, like Treasure's been talking to us about all week, is compiling the customer profiles. All the metadata, all the known customer information into a resolved view of the customer. That's what makes this information actionable. We also need to look broader than our traditional data. One of the things I think people get really excited about with like CDPs is a facility now to start leveraging a lot of underutilized data that we know is there, but have had trouble getting access to. Contextual and behavioral information is so powerful, it's so timely, and having a facility start getting access to that in addition to your customer profiles paves the way again for a very strong personalization strategy. Second, we need to start thinking about the core technology investments in a very strategic way. And what does that mean? That means I think historically we have thought about marketing technology really as just a set of applications that coexist with each other, that we use them kind of in line or in some kind of longitudinal way. That doesn't work anymore. We need them to be integrated, right? We need them to fill in for each other. And the problem is, when we only look at it in terms of applications, it becomes very commoditized. And we tend to treat all of these tools as if they're created equally to each other. Now, we might need a lot of tools, but they are not all equally valuable to us, all right? So the challenge here that I always say is all of your competitors can go buy the same technology as you. There's no exclusivity. They can build and buy the same tools. So where's the differentiation? The differentiation is in how you compile those tools together and, again, use them as an ecosystem to your advantage. The companies that start doing that are going to create advantages for themselves. And unfortunately, I can't just tell you, here's exactly how you're going to build a marketing technology stack. I don't have the 12-step plan. I don't have the standard shopping list for you. I wish I did. If I did, I would have written that book, and I'd be doing this from my own private island. That would be amazing. But everyone's different, really. Everyone's coming at it from a different set of investments. You're in different industries, different geographies. Your needs are slightly different. So there is no singular answer to what you're going to build. But we do have a framework that has been very effective at thinking through how to construct a marketing technology stack, and it's based on 4 pillars of capability: data, the insights, the strategy, and the execution or experience capabilities. And within that, we know that there are about a dozen capabilities that you're going to have to accomplish all of this. So we present this with clients, and we go through their existing architecture and set of tools and basically fill this in. We use this to understand gaps, areas of improvement. And we believe if you can bring all these elements together, invest in them, and integrate them, it's not a mistake that the data sits on the bottom feeding everything, having a consistent set of data that is essentially a proxy for integration across all these tools. We believe you can operate in any channel at any point in the customer lifecycle. And then finally, generative AI, because I'm legally obligated to talk about artificial intelligence now. Las Vegas police are waiting outside. They will cite me if I don't talk about this. But we are excited about it here, and you should be too. This is a powerful capability that we're just starting to get our heads around. What's so interesting, I think, about the marketing use cases of generative AI is that it basically builds on how every other department in the enterprise is thinking about it. If you think about security, operations, selling, data science, development, the IT group, design, all these other parts of the company that are looking at their own use cases for Gen AI, marketing takes advantage of all of that. It's basically a roll-up of every single Gen AI potential use case. Now, I will say, of course, I want to acknowledge that AI is not new in marketing. Basically, the only way we do our jobs today is based on AI, mostly predictive AI, embedded in many of our tools and capabilities and what our data science teams work on in terms of modeling and personalization. This is that generative AI expands, right, the number of use cases. It's a different approach, and it builds on our historical use of predictive AI. We use so much AI in marketing, we don't even call it AI most of the time anymore. We're so used to it, and we take it for granted. But Gen AI puts a face on it. It's something we use that we're going to be able to interact with. So I really encourage you to start thinking about how you can use this. Right now, there's a lot of heat around the creative applications of Gen AI, and it's pretty amazing potentially for that. What I'm interested in that for is thinking about how do we use the generative AI creative capabilities to essentially ramp up or scale up our personalization capabilities. Because one of the huge obstacles in personalization and testing and optimization since the beginning of time has not been the math or the algos or the data science behind it. It's been creating enough versions, variations, content, and creative to execute experiments or to have enough versions to support a personalization strategy. So using this kind of capability, more subject lines, translations into other languages for other geographies, new versions, right, of creative elements, starting to experiment with different kinds of media, audio, video in meaningful ways. This is how we're going to scale up our personalization programs for moments. Natural language querying, essentially a proxy for a user interface. Get marketers closer to their data, get them closer to faster insights, the targeting, doing research. And then, of course, customer journey design. Easy to say, so hard to do. Because journeys change. We have archetype journeys, specific journeys. They change on us. Using these tools to help us not only design, but to monitor and optimize journeys. Again, huge amounts of potential. Now, I think I know what you're saying. You're saying, this is all interesting. You're kind of asking me to do a lot right now, getting slightly concerned. Where's the payoff? Why would I do this? How would I pitch this to my friends back at the office? Well, at Forrester, we believe there's a huge payoff in engaging in moments. Essentially, when you are able to solve problems for your customers, when they believe you are helping them and there's an equal exchange of value with you, they respond, predictably, very positively. They're 7 times more likely to stay with your business, 8 times more likely to spend more, 8 times more likely to recommend you to others. We're in Vegas. I would play these odds any day of the week. So what can you go back to the office and talk about and start thinking about with respect to your own business? I know we're going to be very sad to go home. It's going to be hard to leave CDP World. I'm going to miss all of you too. It's going to be tough. But how can we bounce back and take some of this with us? A few ideas on how you can start trying to apply this to your own organization. One, start thinking about moments that you want to enhance, improve, and develop. And the interesting thing about moments is they're actually not all created equal. You want to do kind of some analysis work to figure out which are the tipping point, critical moments in your customer journeys that move customers towards their problem solving or your business KPIs, right? You'll have thousands, hundreds of moments. Again, they're flying around in the room right now. There might be 4, 5, 6 critical ones that you are really thinking are worth focused on. And then you break those moments down into their constituent parts so you can start improving them. The channels, the context, how are they built and delivered? What's in those moments? Who receives those moments? These are all areas that you can individually dissect and enhance. So if you identify the right moments and the right elements of those moments that you want to enhance, you've got a great plan for moving things forward. Second, we're building this new data asset based on our new customer-first, first-party oriented data strategy. And again, it's not just going to be first-party data. There's many different companion types of data that we want to try to apply. I've talked about behavioral and contextual data that has value as well. This is also, I will say, going to escalate up into your customer engagement strategy. If we're depending really on owned data now, first-party data as the backbone of our data capabilities, we need to change our customer experiences and engagement to create an incentive for customers to visit with us, to keep sharing more data, to give us consent, and to create persistence in our data. So our customer marketing has to evolve to help generate data, because we're going to use our existing data as the starting point, but we're always going to have to expand and renew it. And we need a way, essentially, to collect that data and give customers a reason to give us that data. Third, we want to stay nimble with our technology, right? We want this core set of tech, but we also want to make it agile enough so that we can continue to fine-tune it, add it, make changes without having to throw everything out or re-platform. We don't want to go back to the well every 18 months on our marketing technology, right? We want an expandable, core system that we can build and tweak and tune over time. And so we think, if you think about what are the core, most durable, most important functions, if you invest in your data side, which is the data management, the identity resolution, the data collection, CDP World, right? How do we optimize developing content? That's where a lot of the Gen AI will come in. Customer journey analytics and bringing orchestration together. Essentially, if you can master the data side and the orchestration side, you have a durable core marketing technology set that can handle anything else over time as you continuously adapt to our changing world. And then finally, start thinking about Gen AI now. Not a lot of these Gen AI capabilities are in live production. It's quite rare today, but we want to be experimenting with these things now. You'll probably start with Gen AI capabilities, LLMs, some of the interfaces that exist within your existing marketing applications, for example. Eventually, as you start proving this out, you'll probably bring some of that in-house and have your own internal implementations of some of these models so that you can train it on your data in a secure way. You can put your own applications and access points on top. But start thinking about how we can use this to support our planning. How does it help accelerate our production? And how does it support, again, personalization, which is where I'm most excited about. So we have a big opportunity, and it sounds like a lot of disruption. It's a lot of change. And I know sometimes we get saturated with the amount of change happening on top of what is ostensibly an already busy day job. But I think for the companies that figure out how to have a highly agile, adaptive marketing technology capability, invest in the data side, and I think you're here, so you probably agree with that. And if we start experimenting with accelerators, like generative AI capabilities, we can really take advantage of this opportunity to delight our customers, create long-term relationships with customers, give them what they want. And the companies that start figuring this out first absolutely are going to have sustainable competitive differentiators in their industries. I know that you can do it. I know that we can move towards a concept like Morioka Shoten, where your personalization experiences are akin relative to your business to a single room that holds a single book in a beautiful, wrapped-up experience. But I know that you can do it. I know your customers are depending on you to do it, and I'm here to help, and CDP World and Treasure Data are here to help as well. So thank you very much. Thank you to Treasure Data. Enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you.